All right, you've made it through the entire chapter here of the PHP object-oriented programming chapter, and we're going to talk about one more concept in this video called abstraction. We're going to create an abstract class, and I'm going to show you what that is and what we would do with that. And it's a little bit hard to learn because we don't have any super useful real-world examples here, but I just want to get you familiar with the concepts, with the terminology, and with the syntax. And then in the next chapter, when we build a project using all of these things, I think it's going to make a lot more sense. So before it gets too hot here in the office, please go down, comment, like, subscribe, check out freeskills.life if you want to get some merch like this. And if you do get some merch, go ahead and take a picture of you wearing it and put it in my comment section. That'd be pretty awesome. Also, I'm thinking about doing some giveaways. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want some free stuff. Get some free skills and some free merch to go with it. All right, so let's go ahead now and let's check this out. I'm gonna switch over here to my screen. And in the last video, we had used this interface.php file, and we did this where we created an interface and then we created two classes that implemented that interface, and that made sure that we had these two methods implemented in those classes. But let's say in a real world, what we want to be able to do is there's a lot of shared functionality that can happen between this PayPal and this Stripe class, and we probably want some sort of parent class to extend these with, from, and we would inherit some of that functionality. But we still want to make sure that they use this interface. So how can we do that? Well, we can do that with an abstract class. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type abstract class, and we'll give this a name of, let's just do gateway. And this gateway is going to implement, oops, let me spell that right, implements the gateway interface. Now, this class is going to have these here. Now, it actually doesn't have to have them because this is abstract, but the eventual classes, because you're not going to be able to, let me tell you this about an abstract class. An abstract class is meant absolutely to be a parent class. You're not going to be able to instantiate an object directly from this. But what we could do here, this interface is these other classes, it's going to make sure that we have everything in here. So what we could do, if get total is the same in all of these, let's say we have the same method here and we don't want to return the exact same thing. So what we could do here is we could actually just do a create the method inside of this. We can say public function get total, and then this would return this total. Now we could then get rid of these methods here in these classes here. Now for now, we're going to get this red squiggly line because it thinks we're not implementing that. But instead of implementing this gateway interface, we can actually extend our gateway. And when we do that, now let me go ahead and do the same thing here before I get too far ahead of myself. We're going to extend gateway for this. So now all of our gateway classes are going to be children of this abstract class, gateway class, and they're going to get inherited this public function get total. Now, what I want to be able to do though is ensure, let's say that these checkout functions are completely different for some reason, something like that. These are different. I need those to be different, but I need to make sure every class or every object has this. So what I can do now is inside this abstract class gateway, we can actually create an abstract public function, and then we'll say checkout, and that's going to take param1. And you can see how this actually looks very similar now to how you set it up in the interface. Now these will they will satisfy this implementation because they have the checkout. But this abstract right here, we're not going to define this. We're just going to say, hey, any child class, if they're going to be a child of mine, they have to implement this checkout method. So let's go ahead now and let's say it's the future, and let's create a new class, and let's just off the top of my head, I can't think of one, but we'll just say Google Pay. Okay, and that's going to extend our gateway. So by default, this gateway is going to have this get total because it inherits from this abstract method, but it also is looking for this. So if I actually hover over here, it says Google Play, oops, let me not move, does not implement the method checkout. And it's going to complain about that. And in fact, if I save and go to the browser now, we do get the fatal error telling us that the Google Play does not have that abstract method. And so this prevents us in the future from creating classes that need something that we forget to implement. And so now I'm going to have to implement my own checkout method here inside of here. And if I do it completely different, it's still going to complain. See, now this right here is getting squigglies and it says, hey, it's not compatible with the method. Well, why isn't it compatible? Let's see what the browser says about this. Maybe it'll give us a better method. Must be compatible with gateway param1. And the reason it's doing that is because these other checkouts, the way that we implement it with the abstract here is we said, hey, it needs this param1. So we need to go ahead and pass param1 in there. And let's see if that works. And now, let's see. Let me rename that. Now we're getting a different error where it's actually saying, hey, stripe total it doesn't exist. And so what we would need to do is in here in our abstract class, we would just need to set up a public, or we can do a protected, probably want to do a protected total like this. And we'll just go ahead and set that equal to 0 by default. And now if we refresh, we don't have any errors. And so now these three classes, because they extend this gateway, they're going to have this total, which will be a protected property. It's going to inherit this public function called getTotal, and it's going to make sure that we implement a checkout method that has the same parameter signature or is compatible with this abstract here. And we know that this is correct because this implements this gateway interface. Now, here's the reality. This is probably the correct way to do this. However, in real life situations, I don't usually do both. If I'm going to do if I need a parent class, I will just go ahead and create an abstract class, and then all my children will just extend that. And I don't worry too much about the interface. So I don't do both the interface and the abstract class usually, but it would still be a good idea if we were going to have multiple abstract classes that these could be built from. We would want to go ahead and set up an interface at that point. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. And again, I don't expect you to really understand this yet until we use it in some real world projects, and probably until you do it a couple times. So don't let that hold you back. If you don't understand, just try to understand the best you can. But for the most part, just try to get some of this terminology in your head, like an interface and implements and abstract. And hopefully I did a good enough job just to kind of whet your appetite a little bit for what this is. And then we're going to use it in the next chapter when we build our CMS. So I will see you guys in that chapter.